everyone. My name is Olivia Albrecht, and I'm a youth organizer with the Brighton Park Neighborhood Council. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're really happy to be here with you. BPNC, or the Brighton Park Neighborhood Council, is a community-based nonprofit organization on the southwest side of Chicago. We're located at 4477 South Archer Avenue. It's basically Archer and where Kedzie meet. BPNC was founded 20 years ago by community members who were determined to bring additional resources into the community and hold their elected officials accountable. And so our mission for our organization is to improve the learning environment at Chicago Public Schools, preserve affordable housing, provide a voice for youth, protect immigrant rights, promote gender equity, and end all forms of violence. And so in order to do that, we've grown a lot over the last several years, and we offer a lot of direct services at our office. This includes assistance registering people for the LIHEAP program, which is assistance paying the light and gas bills. We also offer housing counseling services and help people sign up for Medicare and Medicaid. But in addition to that, we also offer services directly at the school. So we have school-based staff that are running after-school programs through our community school initiative. They're running violence prevention programs and adult education classes like the GED and ESL classes that we offer at several schools. We've also been offering citizenship classes. And so we do all this service providing because we believe that there's a need, and there's a need to provide these supports and services in the community, but a lot of our work is also organizing to make change and long-term change in the community and win equity and win justice. And so today I'll be sharing some BPNC housing announcements as well as other updates on our work, and then I'm going to be interviewing one of our amazing youth leaders, Mackenzie, who's really taken a leadership role in our organizing this summer and has really been a huge part of some of our campaigns that we've been involved in. So I want to let Mackenzie introduce herself.
My name is Mackenzie Rieger. I go to John Hancock High School, and I live on the southwest side of Chicago in Garfield Ridge.
Thanks so much. So you'll hear more from Mackenzie in a little bit. I just want to remind everyone that if you have any questions throughout the show, you can call in at 312-738-1060. It's on the bottom of the screen. Again, it's 312-738-1060. So we'll get started. I want to highlight some of the programs that our housing department is offering this fall. So BPNC is providing rental counseling to tenants and landlords about their rights and responsibilities. So our program offers workshops to educate individuals on the eviction process, the Keep Chicago Renting Ordinance, fair housing, and tenants and landlords' rights and responsibilities. We also offer additional resources that help individuals resolve their renting disputes. So this can involve counselors assisting landlords and tenants in drafting lease agreements, letters to mediate housing issues with landlords or tenants, and conduct referrals for rental or legal assistance. If you think this applies to you, you can call and make an appointment with one of our counselors at 773-523-7110. Again, our number is 773-523-7110, and our office is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. BPNC is also committed to helping guide, educate, and empower current and future homeowners. So our program consists of 8 hours of education and counseling to meet HUD's requirements. The program is designed to offer individual counseling and group education where you'll learn about the home buying process, credit, money management, the different mortgage products, and down payment assistance programs. After completion of the program, a certificate will be provided to you. And BPNC is, of course, a HUD-approved nonprofit organization that offers foreclosure prevention counseling. BPNC can assist you to apply for a loan modification or other home retention or transitional alternatives, such as the Illinois Hardest Hit Fund, or HHF. If any of this applies to you or your family, please call us at 773-523-7110. You can also visit our website at www.bpnc.org. bpncchicago.org. And for other updates on our work, you can go to our Facebook page, just search for Brighton Park Neighborhood Council, or you can follow us on Twitter at @BPNCChicago. And of course, just want to remind you that you can always call us right now at 312-738-1060. But we have a really exciting update for you today, and that's that the governor has finally signed the Trust Act today. If you haven't heard of the Trust Act is a bill that makes Illinois the only state in the country to pass such comprehensive legislation protecting undocumented immigrants throughout Illinois. So police throughout the state will now be prohibited from honoring detainer requests from immigration agents unless they have a warrant. And we're really grateful to our state senators and our state representatives for making this possible and protecting our communities. And even though today was a day to celebrate, we're all incredibly worried about the future of DACA, which is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's a program that began during the Obama administration and offers legal status to anyone who emigrated to the United States as a child. And we're all very concerned that this program might be ended soon. And so we're really, of course, worried that this program won't last. And if you'd like to stay tuned and get updates, you can follow our BPNC Twitter or on Facebook. And if you'd like to get involved in the fight for immigrant justice or would like assistance connecting with legal support, please call us at 773-523-7110 and we'll do our best to help you. In other news, on Friday we have our last Play Streets of the summer. Play Streets is a great event that we do throughout the summer at various schools where we block off streets and create a safe place for young people to play. We usually have a DJ, a bouncy house, and offer a Zumba class for parents or children. And this week it's going to be on Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Shields Elementary, which is at 43rd and Rockwell. Anyone is invited. You'll be able to hear us, or you can find us in the orange t-shirts. And finally, we have a really exciting event coming up on September 9th and 10th. BPNC is helping organize the Midnight Circus at McKinley Park. It's a great circus with amazing talent and acrobats. It's a really fun day, so come and bring your family and friends for a great day at the park as summer's ending and the school year begins. You can find out more information at our website, which is www.bpncchicago.org, or you can go to our Facebook page for more information. Again, if you have any questions right now, please feel free to call in. But now we kind of turn to our organizing work a little bit more. And as a youth organizer, I think my job is to support and create space for young people to be leaders in their schools and communities and exercise their power to make change. Too often the voice of students is silenced and not heard in the decision-making process. And we really believe that it's young people who are leading the movement and should be involved, especially in the fight for their own education. And so I work with students at middle schools and high schools across the Southwest Side, and every day I'm inspired by what they're able to do. And so as we head back into school next week, there's a lot of students and parents and teachers throughout Chicago that are preparing themselves to go back to schools that have had to lay off teachers and cut programs. Illinois still does not have a state budget for this year, and CPS continues to go further and further in debt rather than tap into some progressive revenue solutions that could end this crisis. And only after pressure from communities have we seen the city and the state start to discuss what real education equity looks like, but we know that we have a long ways to go. And so this summer, and for a long time now, students have been actively involved in this fight to save their schools and to win more funding for their schools because they see the immediate need. And today I've asked Mackenzie to come speak a little bit about how organizing has played an important role in her life and why she feels strongly about the need for students to be involved. So I'm going to turn it over to Mackenzie and just have her talk to us a little bit about how she got involved in BPNC and why she did.
So I started off working with BPNC at the beginning of my sophomore year. I remember we went on a trip to Springfield to protest basically school funding and basically to ask why our school's CPS isn't receiving enough funding. So I met Olivia here at my very first protest. I remember I had never been to a protest before, didn't know anything about it. I mean, the issues affected me definitely, but I wasn't one of those people who was too involved in the movement. I've always been one of those people that was like really vocal about issues that were in my school, but I was never a part of the process to take the next step.
Yeah, and so I guess what made you want to keep coming back? Like what inspired you?
Well, after that first time at Springfield, I felt really empowered afterwards. Like on the bus ride back, I was thinking like, man, this is something that I really want to keep doing. It was really fun, using my energy for something more positive and something good.
Yeah. A lot of people might say that a high school student should just focus on school and their academics, and that kind of spending your time organizing is a distraction. What would you say to them?
I would tell those people that in order for me to like I guess focus on my schoolwork, I would need to have a environment in school that I felt was fair, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's hard to focus on your own schoolwork when there's budget cuts surrounding you, when one of your classes that you were going to take is being cut because your school can't afford to pay the teacher. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And we've just seen that for the last several years now, budget cuts have become normal, right? Every year there's a new round of budget cuts. And at some point, we just have to decide that we're going to invest in our education. But because it's been so many years, like organizing can be exhausting. And it can be challenging because sometimes you don't win immediately. What would you say to people who are they don't believe that it's possible? They just think it's always going to be like this.
Well, I was one of those people. I always thought that, me going to the protest, we're just out there screaming, nothing's going to happen. But I would tell those people that, I guess you may not believe that it's possible, but it is. Your voice matters. Even if you think it doesn't, it does. You going out there protesting, it makes a difference.
So I'm going to pause right there because it seems like we have a caller and I want to answer their question. So go ahead, caller.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. My question is for your guest, but it could probably be also for you as a host. My question is, what would you tell to people who want to advocate for other people? So, like, for example, if there's a rally or a protest for people with disabilities, and I want to go, I don't have a disability myself, but if I feel like I don't have the right to speak on their behalf because I don't have a disability, or would you encourage me to do so?
That's a good question. Well, me personally, I've been doing a lot of advocating for, I guess, immigrant rights, and me personally, it doesn't affect me, but it affects people around me. So even if it doesn't affect you directly, and let's say it affects someone around you, even if it doesn't, if you feel that if it's an issue that you're passionate about, it shouldn't matter if it affects you or not. If you're a part of the reason that, we're making change, I don't see what's the issue with you being involved. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think that was a great answer. I'd just add that, solidarity is really important, and so showing up is incredibly important. But I think you're right to kind of ask the question, right? We don't want to speak for others if we haven't experienced that injustice. And so it's important to never speak for them, but rather to be supporting the leadership of those who are most impacted. So your example of going to a rally for the rights for those who are differently abled is a great example. Showing up and being supportive and being an ally is so important, but also not wanting to be at the front, right? Not wanting to be a leader. And I think it's always a question of finding that place for yourself, and that can be challenging, but just asking that question is a really important first step. I hope that answered your question. Hello? Oh, I think we lost her. No? All right. right. Well, hopefully we answered your question. And thank you so much for calling in. I think the fact that people are starting to ask these questions and want to go out to rallies and want to go out to protests is so important right now. And it's so important to show up, especially as an ally, and be in solidarity. But finding the right way to do that is also really important. And it kind of speaks to my next question for Mackenzie, because I think people have this fear of protests, or they think they're really intimidating, or they see people do it on TV and they think they could never do that, right? Like they could never disrupt anyone. They could never do some of those things. And so I want to ask Mackenzie about her favorite action that she's done and kind of what it felt like.
My favorite action would have to be when me and my other youth leaders, we disrupted a city council meeting. So basically, all of us are in a CPS school and we all like witnessed budget cuts, and CPS hasn't been receiving the fair funding that it deserves. So a group of us decided to go down to a city council meeting, and there was about 50 of us, and we split up into little groups of like 6 or 7, and we spread out around the room. And one by one, each group would stand up and yell a chant at the alderman and the mayor. And I remember when it was my turn to go, my group, when we stood up and we started chanting, and I looked Rahm Emanuel directly in his eyes, it was great because I got to put all of my frustration into that moment, and I felt like my voice was being heard because, I mean, they're right there and they're listening to what I have to say. And I felt empowered.
It was an amazing moment. And just a little background on it. Often you hear from the mayor's office or from the Board of Education that the reason CPS has no money is that the state isn't providing any. And that's absolutely true. The state has a horrible funding formula for schools, and should be sending much more money to Chicago for education. But it's also true that the city of Chicago has a lot of money and could be doing much more to fund its schools. And so we can't just wait on the state. We've seen that that doesn't work. And there's a lot of things that the mayor and city council can do today to fund our schools and increase funding to our schools. A perfect example of that is that they could pass the TIF surplus ordinance, which would send all TIF money that should be going to schools anyways, back to our schools, but is currently being diverted to development projects downtown, like the Navy Pier renovation, or the renovation of the DePaul basketball stadium. And we really feel like at a time when our schools are struggling so much, they should take priority over a fancy food court for tourists. And so that's why we were, at City Council, kind of making sure the mayor could hear us and hear us saying, you have the power to do something, stop putting it off and stop prioritizing downtown Chicago and where tourists go over the students in communities in Chicago. That was one of my favorite actions as well. It was really fun. Out of curiosity, Mackenzie, what did you chant at City Council?
I think it was, can I say the chant? It
Yeah.
was something like, education is a right, not just for the rich and white. And I feel like that would really stick to people. I remember when I first went to a protest and I heard that chant, I was like, okay, that's true. Like, I felt like all the people in that room, that chant stuck with them. And then I remember as we were being removed, me and my friend started yelling directly, looking at Rahm Emanuel saying, fund our schools, fund our schools. And afterwards we got a lot of attention for it. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people on social media were like talking about it. And I think that our chants really stuck with people.
Yeah, they did. But I know that some people might react to that and say, wow, that's like really disruptive. Mm-hmm. That's a little crazy, maybe a little rude, and maybe a little disrespectful. What would you say to someone who's kind of still skeptical and thinks that that isn't maybe the right way to go about doing things?
I would tell them that, well, our elected officials give us a lot of false hope and a lot of false promises. They tell us that, children in CPS deserve the same education as, everyone else, but we're not receiving the equal treatment that we deserve. And I feel like that's disrespectful in itself, to sit here and feed us these lies knowing that we deserve better and you're not giving us better, that's disrespectful. So for us to go and disrupt a city council meeting that you guys have, every month, that's nothing compared to how you treat us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. That was amazing. That was perfect. And so this is just kind of, Mackenzie is just here representing, I think, the way a lot of students in Chicago feel. And so if you're a student in a high school or a middle school student out there seeing these budget cuts every day, seeing your teachers getting laid off, and wanting to get involved, particularly if you're on the southwest side of Chicago, please reach out to us, Facebook message us, call us, find a group near you, and get involved, because I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but I think it's the only way we're going to move forward out of this mess. I don't know, Mackenzie, you agree?
Organizing honestly has taught me a lot about myself. It's taught me, not only is it like empowering, it's like really fun too. You have fun doing it. You meet cool people, I guess. Organizing has taught me a lot about myself as a person, how I can use my voice and my energy into something, to accomplish something. So, yes.
Yeah. Cool. And so if you have any questions for us, feel free to call in. And again, follow us. You can see everything we've been doing this summer on Twitter at BPNC Chicago. And I just want to kind of reiterate some of the announcements we've made, and promote a couple other programs. BPNC's programs, of course, are concentrated on the southwest side. One of the main schools that we're at is Kelly High School. So if you're a student at Kelly High School, look forward. Oh, I'm going to pause there for a caller we have. Go ahead with your question, caller.
Hi, my name is Victoria, and lately I've been hearing a lot of news about vouchers and scholarships for private schools. So I was a little confused about that because I thought we didn't have any money. So do you mind explaining what that essentially means and how does it affect my CPS students?
Yeah, that is a really great question. So we still don't have a budget for Illinois right now for our schools. We did pass a budget, but it didn't include the budget for schools. And so there is a great compromise that has been worked out, but in this compromise, there is money for a voucher program. They're calling it a scholarship program, but it's a voucher program that would take money away from public schools and shift it towards basically a voucher program that would help families pay for private schools. What we're saying is we need public money to go to public schools, right? Public education is a right guaranteed in the Constitution. And if we're going to provide great, high-quality public schools, we need to fully fund them. And right now, they're not being fully funded, and all of our money has to go to public education. And so while we desperately want an Illinois state budget for schools, we also want one that is equitable and fully funds our schools and prioritizes funding for schools in Black and Brown communities that are really struggling right now. So thank you so much for your question. I don't know, Mackenzie, you want to add anything?
Voucher programs are when your parents can apply for state mandated money to
go to a private
school. I feel like that money shouldn't exist. It's like we have schools that are in CPS that need money, and there's kids in CPS that are struggling as it is, and how are you going to give state money to kids that want to go to private schools?
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time right now, so I just want to do some last minute updates. So just please remember we have Play Streets coming up on September 1st at Shields Elementary from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Please join us there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We also have the Midnight Circus on September 9th and September 10th, at McKinley Park. And so to find out more, go to www.bpncchicago.org for more information, or you can go to our Facebook page. And just a reminder that we have many, many housing programs that you can choose from, including rental counseling for tenants and landlords, workshops on keeping Chicago renting ordinance, landlords' rights and responsibilities, as well as assistance resolving renting disputes. Our counselors are also there to assist landlords and tenants in drafting leases and letters. And thank you so much. For more information, please go to our website, www.bpncchicago.org. Thanks so much.